Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to demonstrate how we can actually test OAuth client credentials using Postman. So when I say client credentials, what I exactly mean is we are going to use only the application registry details like client ID, client secret to authenticate the transaction. We will not be supplying any user related credentials like user ID, password, to the third party team. For example, there's a request that came from a team that we would like to read the catalog task table, whatever records were created in that table via API calls. And they only want to read it, they don't want to update it. So, what we would usually do is we would need to create a user account, give it the appropriate roles, and then give them the endpoint. And if it's a basic authentication, we will give them the username and password to be able to get the details from the instance. But when we are using OAuth, there are multiple ways to do it. One way is to use client credentials, where we are not giving the other team the credentials itself, but only the client ID, client secret, and other related details related to the application registry. So let's see how we can achieve this. Let's first create an application registry record. Here I would like to click on create an OAuth API endpoint for external clients. I'm fine with the deprecated UI. I just want to demonstrate the functionality. Even if I select new inbound integration experience, within that, we also would need to go to the same external client option, the one I'm going to click right now. So this is the one. And we can give any name for our app registry record. Let's say demo auth SC task. Client secret will be auto-generated once the record is saved, and let me select client type as integration as a service, and let's save it for now. Now we have the client ID and client secret, both of them. Let's add these details to our Postman configuration. So this is my Postman configuration. This is the table API URL for SC underscore task table. Within the authorization tab, I'm going to select OAuth 2.0. And here we have the grant type selected by default as authorization code. Let me change it to client credentials because that's what I mentioned in the beginning of the video that I will be demonstrating. Then we have client ID over here. Let's go back to copy the client secret. And then we need to specify the access token URL. So let me copy the initials of the URL from the table API URL. And then to get the token, I will simply need to append OAuth underscore token dot do. So this part is done. And then client authentication, yes, I would prefer to send it in the body. And let's just try to click on get new access token now. So this failed. Let me open this in console. It said access denied. Let's go back to our instance and see if there's a system property already available with a particular name. So the system property that we were looking for is not available by default in the system. Let's quickly add it. I've already filled the details. Let me quickly save the form. So this is the system property glide.oauth.inbound.client.credential.grant-type.enabled. Now let's give it a quick try. I'm going to click on get new access token again. It failed again. I am sure it's the similar kind of error. So it says received client credentials grant type request. However, integration user is not configured for OAuth. So we need to configure the integration user when we are using client credentials. We will not be supplying the credentials for that integration user, but it will be used internally within ServiceNow. Now, how we can do that is, let's see if we have those fields on the form. If not, let me go to the form layout. and I'm going to add a couple of fields over here. So one field is OAuth application user, and I think the another one was grant type. Okay, with grant type, I don't see anything. Is it default grant type? Yeah, this is the one. So I've added both the fields on the form, and let's see what are the values in those fields. So OAuth application user is empty, and default grant type is resource owner password credentials. And we don't want to use that. We would like to use client credentials. And within the OAuth application user, I would prefer to have an internal user, which I've already created. This is the integration user that I've already created, demo OAuth. I've selected identity type as machine so that web service access only is checked. Otherwise, you will not be able to check it. Then internal integration user is also checked, and I've also to be able to read the SE underscore task table, I've given this user SN request read role. So let's associate this particular user with our application registry record. And now let's just save this record. Now let's do a quick test once again. Let me hop on to the configuration in Postman. Click. So let's just click on get new access token and see if this time the integration works. So authentication is successfully completed this time, and we will be able to use the token generated to be able to read the records in the SE underscore task table. So here we have all the details like access token URL, and things like that. And if I click on use token, and now let's just click on send, I should be able to read the records from the SE underscore task table. So here we have all the records from the SE underscore task table. This is a demo instance, so there's limited data. That's why the results were returned in a few seconds. So thank you so much for watching.